Finance. A home buyer has a loan for $60,000 and he has to pay 2.5 points. How much would he have to pay? Remember what a point is. A point is 1% of the loan amount. So if each point is 1%, 2.5 points would equate to 0.025. I'm looking for how many points he would have to pay, which is some percentage of the loan amount. That means that I'm looking for the smaller number. The loan amount is the larger number, which is $60,000. Two numbers on the bottom of the T, I multiply the 60,000 times 0.025, and I come up with $1,500 that this person paid 4 points. Each year, a homeowner pays $12,000 interest on a loan at 7%. The loan amount is blank. This is a pretty important relationship, one that you're going to use consistently through the rest of the course. And that is, there is a relationship between the interest we pay annually, or our annual interest, the interest rate, and the loan amount or principal amount. Now the amount of interest we pay is going to be smaller than the loan amount, so that number goes on top. Labeling them, again, this is annual interest. Now the interest rate for the problem is 7.5%, which can also be written as 0.075. This is the same as 7.5%. A number on the top and a number on the bottom, I divide the 12,000 by 0.075 and I come up with $160,000. Again, this is my loan amount, or I could call it my principal. The relationship between these three items revolves around the annual interest. If the quarterly interest at 10.5% is $3,150, the principal amount of the loan is blank. We've already learned that there's a relationship between the interest we pay annually, the interest rate, and the principal or loan amount, so what we need to do is get our numbers into annual interest. If the interest paid quarterly is $3,150, then all we need to do to get it into annual interest is multiply it times 4 quarters in a year, which gives us an annual interest of $12,600. This goes on the top of my T because it's smaller than the total loan amount. Annual interest is the key. Interest rate is 10.5%, which can also be written as 0.105. If I divide 12,600 by 0.105, I come up with $120,000, which is my principal or loan amount. The building was sold for $115,000. Earnest money in the amount of $15,000 was deposited in escrow, and the buyer obtained a new loan for the balance of the purchase price. The lender charged 2 discount points on the loan. What was the total amount of cash used by the buyer for this purchase? Well, discount points is prepaid interest. It's cash out of the buyer's pocket. So we need to figure out how much those discount points cost. Discount points are charged, or any points are charged based on the loan amount, not the purchase price. So we need to figure out the loan amount. If the total purchase price was $115,000, and they put down $15,000 deposit and getting a loan for the rest, all we need to do is subtract that $15,000 from $115,000, which gives us a loan amount of $100,000. So we take that loan amount of $100,000, we multiply it times the 2 points that they're purchasing, and those points cost $2,000 to that borrower. It's asking how much cash was used by the buyer. Well, the buyer actually used the $15,000 in the deposit and the $2,000 they paid for cost. So the total combined is $17,000. If a homeowner owes $12,000 on a loan and pays $1,020 in interest, the interest rate is blank. We have to assume the $1,020 is annual interest because it doesn't tell us otherwise. And we know that our annual interest goes on top. It's saying that the loan is $12,000, which is the larger number and goes on bottom. If I divide $1,020 by $12,000, I come up with 0.085. The tricky part to this one is the answers. 0.085 is the same as 8.5%. You cannot combine the two. In other words, you can't put 0.085% because this is saying it's significantly less than 1%. And that is not true. Easy mistake to make. Remember, 0.085 is the same as 8.5%.